Two houses on the same street, two neighbours with the exact same salary, and by the end of this story, one of them is a millionaire, and the other is quietly drowning. Meet Brad, a new German sedan every 3 years, a designer watch, golf on Saturdays. Everyone on the street agrees that Brad is rich. And this is Tom, a 12-year-old pickup truck, the same house for 20 years, and he cuts his own lawn. Everyone agrees that Tom is doing okay, at best. So here is the question this whole video hangs on. Which one of them is the millionaire? You already know it is Tom. What you probably do not know is why, and the why is worth more than any stock tip you will ever hear. In the 1990s, two researchers set out to study America's millionaires. What they found broke every assumption we have about wealth. This is the Millionaire Next Door. Thomas Stanley and William Danko had a simple plan. Go where rich people live and study them. So they surveyed the fancy neighborhoods, and they hit something strange. Plenty of big incomes, plenty of big houses, surprisingly few actual millionaires. Then they looked at the boring neighborhoods, modest houses, older cars, and there they were, millionaires everywhere, hiding in plain sight. It got stranger. For one study, they invited a group of millionaires to a penthouse interview. They laid out fine wine and gourmet food to make them feel at home. The first millionaire looked at the table and said, "I drink 2 kinds of beer, Free and Budweiser." Not one of them touched the champagne. These were people worth more than the entire block you grew up on. That evening changed the whole study, because it meant the picture in our heads, the yachts, the champagne, the designer everything, was not what wealth looks like. It is what income being spent looks like. Stanley had a name for that. He borrowed it from a Texas oil man, and it might be the most useful phrase in personal finance. Big hat, no cattle. In Texas, that is the man who dresses like a rancher, boots, buckle, the works, and owns exactly 0 cows. The suburbs are full of big hats. The German sedan on lease, the watch on credit, the vacation on a car that is never quite paid off. Stanley interviewed people with huge salaries and negative net worth. From a distance, they looked like winners. On paper, they were 1 bad month from 0. Because here is the trick your eyes play on you. You cannot see wealth. You can only see spending. The Rolex does not tell you the man has money. It tells you the man had money and gave it to a watch company. So Brad, our neighbour with the sedan, is not lying to anyone. He is just wearing his entire net worth where everyone can see it. Which brings us to the number that decides everything, and it is not your salary. Stanley and Danko found doctors earning $400,000 a year with almost nothing saved. High income, high status, and a net worth close to 0. They called them underaccumulators of wealth, big hat people. The income comes in, the lifestyle eats it, nothing sticks. And they found teachers, plumbers, and small business owners who never earned half of that, sitting on 7 figures. The difference was never the paycheck, it was what survived the paycheck. The book even gives you a formula to check yourself. Take your age, multiply it by your pre-tax income, divide by 10. That is roughly what your net worth should be. Double that number, and you are what Stanley called a prodigious accumulator of wealth, a quiet millionaire in the making. Most people who look rich fail this test. Most people who pass it look completely ordinary. Here is the statistic nobody believes. Half the millionaires in the study never spent more than a few $100s on a watch, and the most common vehicle among them was not a luxury car at all. It was an ordinary pickup truck. So what do these invisible millionaires actually do? The book boils down to a playbook, and the first rule sounds almost insulting. They know their numbers. Most millionaires in the study could tell you what their family spends on food, clothing, and housing every year. Most big hats had no idea. Rule 2. They play defense. Offense is what you earn. Defense is what you keep. Games are won on defense. They budget like their money is under attack, because it is. Every ad you see is a raid on your future net worth. Rule 3. They live below their means, on purpose, permanently, not as a phase, as an identity. Tom from Maple Street does not feel deprived in his old truck. Every month, the gap between what he earns and what he spends buys him something Brad will never own. Freedom. Rule 4. They let the surplus compound quietly. Index funds, their own business, real estate, boring vehicles, decades of patience. And Rule 5 may be the most surprising. 80% of them were first generation, no inheritance, no trust fund. They built it inside one ordinary lifetime, which means the playbook is open to anyone. So why does almost nobody run it? Because looking rich is a product, and it is for sale everywhere. The lease, the financing plan, the buy now pay later button. An entire economy is built on renting you the costume of wealth. And the costume is expensive in a way the price tag never shows. Brad's sedan costs him $900 a month. Invested instead, over 30 years, that single payment becomes more than $1 million. That is the real transaction. Brad is not buying a car. He is selling his millionaire future for the look of a millionaire present. The wealth you display is the wealth you destroy. And the cruelest part, the people Brad is trying to impress are doing the same thing, trying to impress him. A street full of costumes, applauding each other. Meanwhile, Tom's money is invisible, which is exactly why it grows. Nobody claps for an index fund. So if the playbook is public, why is it rare? Because every force around you pushes the other way. Your feed shows you lifestyles, not balance sheets. Your neighborhood measures the car, not the account behind it. And your own brain is wired to signal status now, not security in 30 years. Quiet wealth has no audience. That is the price. You give up the applause today for the options tomorrow, because real wealth is the part nobody ever sees. The car's not leased, the watch is not bought, the upgrade's not taken. Being rich looks like something. Becoming wealthy looks like nothing at all. So tonight, run the numbers on yourself. Age times income divided by 10. Are you ahead of that line or behind it? Then pick one costume piece you are currently paying for and ask what it would be worth in 30 years if it quietly went to work instead. You do not need a new salary to change lanes. Brad and Tom earn the same money. They just answer a different question. One asks, "What can I show?" The other asks, "What can I keep?" The street will never notice your net worth. That is fine. The street is not going to fund your freedom either. If this clicked, the next step is learning what to do with the money you keep. Start with the oldest playbook of all, The Richest Man in Babylon. That video is on your screen now. Be the neighbor nobody suspects. See you in the next one.